Ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason that Tulsi Gabbard has a crossover appeal. This is something that people on the left find to be egregious or embarrassing or detrimental. They look at Tulsi Gabbard and they say, oh, there's Trump supporters who like her. No, her foreign policy is an anti-interventionist foreign policy. Whether I would vote for her in 2020, I'm not 100% certain. I can't fathom voting for any Democrat with everything that they've done the past 4 years. But Tulsi Gabbard opposes impeachment proceedings. So they're going to try to impeach. They're going to begin an inquiry into impeachment, which is hilarious because they don't have the courage. They don't even have the chutzpah. They don't have the audacity, after endless hyperbole, after yelling at the top of their lungs, insulting and demeaning and trying to disparage Trump at every turn. They don't even have the guts to simply, if they own the House, they have the House of Representatives. They don't have they don't have what it takes to simply impeach Trump. Well, first of all, there's no reason to. We'll get to that in a second. But they're talking all of this, you know what, how Trump is so horrendous, and there's this orange monster in the White House. They haven't impeached him. They haven't passed the Medicare for All bill. They're all talk, no show. They're all talk and public relations. That's why most of the country can't stand Democrats and media. But here, The Hill, Gabbard, impeachment would only tear U.S. apart. Fox, Tulsi Gabbard says Trump impeachment would tear our country apart. Daily Caller, Trump impeachment, okay, it would only... So let me just go ahead and read The Hill. This is really, really interesting. Gabbard, impeachment would only tear U.S. apart. Representative Tulsi Gabbard... Okay, Representative Tulsi Gabbard said in an interview that she opposes an effort by dozens of House Democrats for an impeachment inquiry into the president, saying it would cause further divisions within the U.S. In an interview on the Full Court Press with Greta Van Susteren, who, by the way, agrees with me that Clinton is going to run in 2020, I don't care if it's a day before February 4th. I don't care if she didn't file the paperwork. She's running. There's no paperwork to be filed for Clinton. There are no rules. It's 10 strikes and you're out if she gets into the batter's box, and she will. Oh, it's going to happen. So when people say, I can't stand any more of you saying it, it's going to happen. You're going to hear about it for over a year, so you might as well get ready. Emotionally and psychologically, and then just enjoy it. You need Clinton to run, ladies and gentlemen. You need that. I know it sounds horrendous, but you do. But in an interview on Full Court Press with Greta Van Susteren, the 2020 candidate for president took a firm stance against impeachment, putting her at odds with Democratic candidates for president, including Senator Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren. I don't support impeachment, Gabbard said. I think it's important for us to think about what it is in the best interest of the country and the American people, and continuing to pursue impeachment is something that I think will only further to tear our country apart. Make no bones about it. We need to defeat Donald Trump. Okay. So it's okay that Tulsi Gabbard, in my view, wants to defeat Trump, even though I'm a Trump supporter. But she's doing so from the vantage point of she has different value system on a lot of things. In terms of foreign policy, which is one of the biggest reasons that I love President Trump, she is an anti-interventionist. Trump is an anti-interventionist. Now, in terms of the Second Amendment and other issues, like I said, thinking about it more, I don't know if I could vote for Tulsi Gabbard. Maybe it depends. If it's Tulsi Gabbard versus an establishment Republican, no way. I'd vote for Tulsi. If it's Tulsi Gabbard versus, Donald Trump Jr., somebody with a value system of President Trump, then I would probably vote for one of the Trump dynasty. There was a Politico article talking about the Trump dynasty is going to last decades, and I hope it does. This nonsense that he is this horrible racist, isn't it interesting how, over a decade of The Apprentice, and suddenly wonderful Hollywood When he had The Apprentice, you had actors, you had celebrities, athletes wanting to work with President Trump. Musical artists, suddenly, of all different backgrounds and races and ethnicities, suddenly he's this horrible person. And then they say, well, he said this, he said that. Well, Clinton said worse, and they're going to vote for her again. We can go on forever. You don't sign the First Step Act, and while at the same time being a supremacist. It makes no sense at all. It's almost as if people who can't stand Trump, they only focus on his Twitter feed, and they don't focus on what he's done. There's record low Black and Latino unemployment for a reason. The economy is doing well. Now the only rebuttal is, well, there's going to be a recession soon. It's like, no, there isn't. Anyway, let's continue. Make no bones about it. We need to defeat Donald Trump, but I think it's important for our country's sake and our future that the voters in this country are the ones who do that, and I believe that we will. Well, I don't think she believes that. 132 House Democrats have come in favor of beginning impeachment proceedings. I love this, impeachment proceedings. Just write the articles of impeachment. Like, what is this like? Oh, we have to investigate. You think he obstructed justice? Great. Well, we're going to find out. John Durham is going to... William Barr has already declassified a whole bunch of information. Let's declassify everything. Let's find out why they used a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton. Let's find out why they used a CrowdStrike assessment outsourced by the Democratic Party. Let's get the IG report going on. Andrew McCabe's indictments are going to be imminent. Let's get the show on the road. Enough waiting, enough. This is like a heavyweight fight that's been marketed for a long time. Let's get the show on the road. Clinton people, if you're listening, which you're probably not intelligent enough to listen to anything I have to say, but get the show on the road. Get Madam Secretary to run sooner than later. What are you waiting for? You know very well Biden and Warren, even if they had dual campaigns and alternate universes, wouldn't raise the same, not even half of the money Clinton would raise. It's about fundraising people. But anyway, 132 House Democrats have come out in favor of beginning impeachment proceedings, though the issue is not supported by Democratic establishment leaders such as Nancy Pelosi. Well, whatever. The thing is, she's going to have to... Look, it's not supported now. When Clinton starts running, they'll either try to impeach Trump or get close to impeaching Trump. 57% of Americans want to see Trump replaced with a different president. Yeah, but also found that just over a third support beginning impeachment proceedings. Here we go. A Monmouth University poll. You know what's a great poll? It's actually on Election Day. You know a great survey and a poll that President Trump did very well in? Yeah, it was November 6th, 2016. November 8th, 2016. He did pretty well there. Yeah, he won the Electoral College. That's what you have to do. And they're like, the popular vote. Popular vote's a function of money spent. So, but ladies and gentlemen, Tulsi Gabbard, I respect her as a human being. I respect her as a politician. I don't respect many politicians. I respect President Trump. They say that he represents this and he emboldens these people. No, he doesn't. He simply does not. My website's coming out soon. It's going to help you defeat anyone with derangement issues regarding Trump. He doesn't embolden anyone. Where are these left-wing? How are these left-leaning zealots? Like, do they know all of these horrible, tiki torch people? Like, where's the research that he emboldens people? He literally never said any, like, if somebody does something horrendous, he doesn't say to do this. He doesn't even allude to it. The media, he never said for people to go home. That was the media who read a tweet, just like they usually do, and then create a narrative. It's different on the other side. They're literally, you had congresswomen and congressmen literally saying, "Get in people's faces." Trump never said that. Completely different ballgame. Completely different ballgame. You want to talk about emboldening or inciting or getting people to do something they shouldn't do? That's the Democratic Party in media. making everything into hyperbole, making everything into the most absurd narrative. They said Trump worked with Russia. He never worked with Russia. They said Trump said both sides are equal. He never said both sides were morally equal. You go to C-SPAN. You can see from the beginning of Trump's presidency until today, all you get is the most malicious, petulant journalists trying desperately. It's almost like, this middle school class that doesn't like their teacher. And then they get they get a survey from the principal, and they're like, well, the teacher wasn't fair because they did this, and that. It's like, you can disagree with Trump's policies, but don't pretend that the New York Times didn't write an article saying why Hillary needs to be two-faced. They're going to vote for Clinton again, and you should want this, people, because it's going to be the antithesis of everything they claim to uphold. Clinton, in both rhetoric, in her words, in her deeds, and her actions, are far worse than Trump in every aspect, on race, foreign policy, everything. What's happened in this day and age is the media is so sensitive, and the political correctness has become such a theology or a religion, that Trump saying certain things in this day and age is like horrendous. But if you look at what Clinton has stated, and other Democrats have stated, even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, Clinton opposed gay marriage in 2013. Are you kidding me? There was no Democrat, no liberal. Most Republicans didn't oppose gay marriage in 2013. Or I should say a lot of Republicans. And then they say, well, Obama did also. It's like, okay, so? Democrats they're marginally more liberal than Republicans on most issues. Certain issues, they're completely opposite. Okay. On foreign policy, there's a reason that Max Boot and Bill Kristol and people who enjoy interventions, or at least who advocate interventions, military quagmires, all of these things, there's a reason they're voting for Democrats. There's a reason they voted for Clinton in 2016, and they'll vote for Clinton in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a facade. Clinton is going to run again, and I don't care if it's even after Iowa. I don't care, because there are no rules. There is no Democratic Party. They rigged the primary and cheated Bernie Sanders. It won't be after Iowa. It'll be very likely November or December, or before then. The fourth debate is in October. I would advise the Clinton campaign to get into the fourth debate. You don't want to be seen as cheating again, even though you're cheating again. Step up the public relations game. This is a little bit absurd. Just enter already. What are you waiting for? But I think that Tulsi Gabbard defending President Trump is a great thing. I think it's a crack. It is a fissure within the already sunk and sinking ship, Democratic Party boat, ship, whatever. It's a great thing because you at least have one Democrat, and very likely many others that agree with Tulsi Gabbard. Now, this is going to be viewed like this, I don't know, this segment, or, the fact that she opposes impeachment is going to be viewed as, you see Tulsi Gabbard, she resonates with the Trump voters. Yeah, because Trump voters are not this monolithic. Democrats and media have to create an image of the Trump voter. They have to create an image of Trump. Notice how they don't play the both sides clip. When have you seen that on CNN or MSNBC? When have you seen the full clip of what he said about people coming from other countries? When do you see the full context and nuance? Democrats say things absurd all the time that are far more dangerous, far more reprehensible and egregious and nauseating. And then when they get called out because they truly mean what they say, well, the context. You must look at the nuance. And if you give us bad press, you're putting the lives of our representatives at risk. Have you ever thought of President Trump's welfare or his family's welfare? No, they don't. They want to scratch and claw, and the only thing, look, people, you think that a Warren nomination is going to change the Democratic Party? They'll get worse. And first of all, it's not going to happen. She couldn't. If Clinton decided to run a month before the election, she would outraise Warren in fundraising. Okay, I'm not saying she's going to run. It's almost certainly going to be either sometime in November, December, or possibly October. But you want Clinton to run because it completely obliterates and it basically erases this Democratic Party and this liberal mindset. The cancel culture cancels itself out with Clinton running. Okay? And then you have more liberals and Democrats appreciating Tulsi Gabbard. And then if you have a Tulsi Gabbard versus a Donald Trump Jr., or whatever. I mean, there are a lot of more middle of the road, I should say more sane Democrats like Tulsi Gabbard, but they're not given the press. See, what happened was they cheated Bernie Sanders, and that extinguished any flame, and so then you have the pseudo-intellectuals who've taken over, the biggest buffoons on the planet. You see? Oh, look. Oh, my God. And it's like, oh, my goodness. They're completely ignorant of history. They make these leaps of logic that are absolutely absurd. They think they're intelligent because they get retweeted by their friends or by people, who forgot that when push comes to shove, the Democratic Party just crushes them and steamrolls them. People to the left of Bernie Sanders, interestingly enough, will be the first people who vote for Clinton 2020. Because the way it works is that they'll be like, well, if you don't vote for Hillary, she's horrible, but then you're a tiki torch person. Yeah, you're a tiki torch person. Or you're a Trump supporter. They're gonna. It's what a Clinton 2020 will do to the Democrats and to the left will be absolutely beautiful. Because it'll expose exactly how disingenuous and duplicitous they are. They're not worried about fighting an authoritarian regime. They're the authoritarians. They're the ones who are... You cannot say that a conservative value system is like equivalent to the most horrendous time periods in history. You can't do that. But they do all the time. And Twitter is the most unhealthy echo chamber. And it's not even like... We can go on forever. Look, bottom line is Tulsi Gabbard, she left the DNC in 2015, I believe. When all of it was going down and they cheated Bernie Sanders. Tulsi Gabbard has more integrity and courage. Well, she's a veteran, but also she has more heart than Bernie Sanders. Far more. Because, you don't get cheated and then, cozy up to your tormentors. It would be what Bernie Sanders did with pushing the absurd Russia myth that framed and set up Trump, and it was all Clinton who did this with the Steele dossier and all of that. What Bernie Sanders did was basically cozy up to the vipers and the snakes and the scorpions that stole hundreds of millions of dollars from his voters. And then he has the audacity to say, I'm going to fight the 1%. The 1% does not care about Bernie. When I was writing in the Huffington Post, The Hill and Salon, I thought that he could have been a contender. I thought that he was legit. I thought that he was really going to fight. But honestly, you know who's a fighter who I disagree with on a lot of issues now? Jill Stein, even though I voted for her. When I was on the far left, I was like, oh, okay. But then I realized that maybe I wasn't really on the left because I actually want American soldiers home from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. The left does not care about American soldiers, generally. And that's a big problem with the left. Used to be, well, who knows if the left cared at all, but used to be they would protest military interventions. Now they just say, well, you got to keep them there forever. What can you do? Even young people say that. I was talking to a gentleman, very nice guy. He was, not voting for Trump. He was liberal. He was like, well, they have to stay there forever. I was like, well, what? Really? They're just going to stay there forever? I mean, again, the Democrats in general are like, if you say something bad on Twitter, they'll never forgive you. But if you say, hey, I want to bring American soldiers home, they'll be like, well, they have to be there forever. I'm like, what? Then you get the somewhat more, I guess, savvy, or I don't even know. It's not savvy, but you get the more establishment people like, well, would you take soldiers away from Germany and Japan? Huh? I'm like, whoa. You think that's equivalent to what's taking place right now? You think that's equivalent to a counterinsurgency conflict? Where the people do not want us there? I mean, we can go on forever. But give me your thoughts below. They have nothing to impeach Trump on. There was no obstruction of justice because Trump was framed and set up. So you can't hide behind, he tried to impede the U.S. government from indicting him because the U.S. government, under Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, all of them, those people defrauded the United States and the people of the United States. There was no... The DNC could be hacked from here until eternity, and it still wouldn't be national security. It would be an issue with a private entity that could sue whomever, they could have gone after those Russian intelligence officers with CrowdStrike's assessments in court. Just the DNC could have done that. You didn't need a special counsel. It's not national security. And if you say, well, do you want a foreign power interfering in the election? Yeah, I want to know exactly how the Democrats got the ledger, the Manafort ledger. I also want to know a lot more importantly, why the U.S. government would use a dossier purchased by Clinton with money funneled through her law firm. Why wouldn't Mueller even know? Of course he knew. He's like, oh, you don't know. He didn't know who Fusion GPS was and Glenn Simpson, the people that Clinton outsourced for the dossier that he used against Trump. Are you kidding me? This is a sloppy setup. The Democrats are sloppy and they're rampant in their corruption because they have the media. And they have enough people to truly believe their nonsense to just continue going. That's one of the biggest problems that Bernie Sanders engaged in. He helped perpetuate this nonsense. Tulsi Gabbard fought against it. She has, progressive or liberal views on things, but she's principled. Tulsi Gabbard is a link to when American politics used to have that type of person who really puts the welfare of the country before any political loyalty. And that's the great thing about Trump. That's what I love about Trump. I love that about Tulsi Gabbard. Trump doesn't care about the Republican Party he has no allegiance to the Republican Party. Jeb Bush does. Rubio does. Ted Cruz does. Trump is like, the Republicans need Trump. Not so much the other way around. If it's an establishment Republican versus Clinton absolutely obliterates the establishment Republican. Okay, it's not going to be Biden. It's not going to be Warren. When people say, oh, H.A. Goodman, it's not going to happen. Do you really think Warren's going to be the nominee? Really? 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 Where's she going to get the money? A lemonade stand? Where? Where's she going to get $2 billion? Because Trump's going to be on his way to $2 billion. If it's a 1-to-1 ratio, Trump gets the popular vote and steamrolls through the Electoral College. Clinton outspent Trump 2-1, and she still lost. Now, she barely lost, and they're going to go back to the same well because it's a graft machine anyway. So they make out if they lose or they win. And Clinton, if she loses, she says, look, I heard, I tried again. Whatever, there's no harm in trying the second time. I mean, everyone else, you, me, everyone else will be like, you lost again. But we have a mentality like, we're normal, average, everyday Americans of all different backgrounds. We're like, we watch sports. It's like you don't want to see... If you see a team lose again in the Super Bowl or in the finals or again in the World Series, like, it's you get this mentality like, oh, okay, you lost again, especially if they cheat and they still lose. Okay, that's what the Democrats are like with Clinton. But with Clinton, she doesn't care. So people say, oh, she's not running. Why not? Why not? She can lose again. She could run in 2024. And I'm telling you that she would get the nomination again if they don't change. Because it's an extension of Bill and Hillary. And give me your thoughts below. Tulsi Gabbard opposes impeachment, which is fantastic. I think they're going to ramp up the impeachment and try to actually impeach Trump around the time that Clinton enters the race. Give me your thoughts below. Check out A. Trey Goodman's other channel right now.